Hi, this is Kim here, Kim Reads Urantia, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Spirit of Truth, paper 180, part 5 of the Urantia book. Okay, here we go. The new helper, which Jesus promised to send into the hearts of believers to pour out upon all flesh, is the Spirit of Truth. This divine endowment is not the letter or law of truth, neither is it to function as the form or expression of truth. The new teacher is the conviction of truth. Conviction of truth. The consciousness and assurance of true meanings on real spirit levels. And this new teacher is the spirit of living and growing truth, expanding, unfolding, and adaptive truth. Okay. Adaptive truth. Okay. That's interesting. Conviction to truth feels pretty rigid to me, but here expanding, unfolding, and adaptive truth feels like not very rigid truth. That's interesting. Reconciling those two things. Okay. So one person can be convicted of truth, right? And the truth can be adaptive. Interesting. Okay. Divine truth is a spirit discerned and living reality. Truth exists only on high spiritual levels of the realization of divinity and the consciousness of communion with God. You can know the truth and you can live the truth. You can experience the growth of truth and the soul and enjoy the liberty of its enlightenment. Okay, you can experience the growth of truth in the soul and enjoy the liberty of its enlightenment in the mind, but you cannot imprison truth in formulas, codes, creeds, or intellectual patterns of human conduct, because truth is living. You can't imprison it. When you undertake the human formulation of divine truth, it speedily dies. When you undertake the human formulation of divine truth. Okay, I think that's when you say it's like, I know what the truth is, I know all what everything is about, and undertake the human formulation. Okay, so we have to have this truth grow within us. That means it needs to be alive inside of us. And it can adapt, it can change to different, according to different contexts. Okay, this post-mortem salvage of imprisoned truth, even at best, can eventuate only in the realization of a peculiar form of intellectualized, glorified wisdom. Static truth is dead truth, and only dead truth can be held as a theory. Living truth is dynamic and can enjoy only an experiential existence in the human mind. Okay. So, static truth is dead truth. So, in order to experience truth, you have to be able to change your mind. But changing might suggest that you didn't know the truth to begin with. That is very hard to deal with. Okay. Intelligence grows out of a material existence which is illuminated by the presence of the cosmic mind. Okay. Wisdom comprises the consciousness of knowledge, elevated to new levels of meaning and activated by the presence of the universe endowment of the adjutant of wisdom. Okay, they're talking about those 7 adjutant spirits, okay? Okay, so intelligence is material, but wisdom is more. Is the consciousness of knowledge elevated to new levels of meaning and activated by the spirit of wisdom, the adjutant of wisdom. Truth is a spiritual reality value experienced only by a spirit-endowed beings who function upon supermaterial levels of universe consciousness and who, after the realization of truth, permit its spirit of activation to live and reign within their souls. Okay, so people who have the spirit of truth in them, I don't think they're very easy to, BS. They don't tolerate the bull, right? I'm not going to say that people can't be fooled, but if you trust that spirit of truth, the spirit of truth can't be fooled. Okay, but it's hard for individual people to know which part of their mind is talking to them. Which part is it, the spirit of truth here? Or am I going to believe what I really want to believe instead of what really is? Okay, so because we have to permit this spirit activation to live and reign within our souls. The true child of universe insight looks for the living spirit of truth in every wise saying. The God-knowing individual is constantly elevating wisdom to the living truth levels of divine attainment. The spiritually unprogressive soul is all the while dragging the living truth down to the dead levels of wisdom and to the domain of mere exalted knowledge. Okay, well, let's not do that. So there's more truth in, because it's flexible. It's according to context. It's not rigid. Okay, so spiritually unprogressive people want to make this truth into a rigid doctrine instead of letting it be flexible, letting it be adaptive. The golden rule, when divested of the superhuman insight of the spirit of truth, becomes nothing more than a rule of high ethical conduct. The golden rule, when literally interpreted, may become the instrument of great offense to one's fellows. Okay, so do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So what if I don't like myself very much, and I don't care if somebody beats me up or whatever. Like I kind of look for that or something. I'm a pity party or something, and I look for people to be mean to me. So then that's an excuse for me to do that to other people because I let them do it to me, right? Right? That's not how to use that golden rule, right? Without a spiritual discernment of the golden rule of wisdom, you might reason that since you are desirous that all men speak the full and frank truth of their minds to you, you should therefore fully and frankly speak the full thought of your mind to your fellow beings. Such an unspiritual interpretation of the golden rule might result in untold happiness and no end of sorrow. Right, because everybody, if I want to hear the absolute truth, if that's, then I want to go tell somebody when you're a total loser or something like this, and maybe somebody's not ready to hear that. Okay, that's not a good interpretation of that. Some persons discern and interpret the golden rule as a purely intellectual affirmation of human fraternity. Others experience this expression of human relationship as an emotional gratification of the tender feelings of the human personality. Another mortal recognizes this same golden rule as the yardstick for measuring all social relations, the standard of social conduct. Still others look upon it as being the positive injunction of a great moral teacher who embodied in this statement the highest concept of moral obligation as regards all fraternal relationships. In the lives of such mortal beings, the golden rule becomes the wise center and circumference of all their philosophy. In the kingdom of the believing brotherhood of God knowing truth lovers, this golden rule takes on living qualities of spiritual realization on those higher levels of interpretation which cause the mortal sons of God to view this injunction of the Master as requiring them so to relate themselves to their fellows that they will receive the highest possible good as a result of the believer's contact with them. This is the essence of true religion, that you love your neighbor as yourself. Right. Yeah, right. That's the best thing. Spiritual realization on those higher levels of interpretation. Yep. But the highest realization and the truest interpretation of the golden rule consists in the consciousness of the spirit of truth of the enduring and living reality of such a divine declaration. The true cosmic meaning of this rule of universal relationship is revealed only in its spiritual realization, in the interpretation of the law of conduct by the Spirit of the Son to the Spirit of the Father that indwells the soul of mortal man. The conduct by the Spirit of the Son to the Spirit of the Father. And when such spirit-led mortals realize the true meaning of this golden rule, they are filled to overflowing with the assurance of citizenship in a friendly universe, and their ideals of spirit reality are satisfied only when they love their fellows as Jesus loved us all. And that is the reality of the realization of the love of God. So it's the love of Jesus that comes through us all when we're in full realization of this spirit of truth, that I'm able to love you as Jesus really loves me, and I behave toward my fellow man as they really are potentially divine beings, worthy no matter who you are. That I have reverence for the spirit of the Father within you. And that's the outpouring of this love, the spirit of truth, because that's the ultimate truth, is that we are all children of the Father. This same philosophy of the living flexibility and cosmic adaptability of divine truth to the individual requirements and capacity of every son of God must be perceived before you can hope adequately to understand the Master's teaching and practice of non-resistance to evil. So we don't resist evil. We just let it flow on by, just goes right around me. Just I'm like, yep, like a stone in the river. And it's not even that big of a river. I'm a big stone. Just goes right by. The Master's teaching is basically a spiritual pronouncement. Even the material implications of his philosophy cannot be helpfully considered apart from their spiritual correlations. The spirit of the Master's injunction consists in the non-resistance of all selfish reaction to the universe, coupled with the aggressive and progressive attainment of righteous levels of true spirit values, divine beauty, infinite goodness, and eternal truth. To know God and to become increasingly like Him. Yep, non-resistance of all selfish reaction to the universe. That doesn't mean I'm supposed to cave in to my own selfishness. It's supposed to be, it's like I'm not going to react to anybody else's selfishness or aggressiveness. I don't need to react to it. Love, unselfishness, must undergo a constant and living readaptive interpretation of relationships in accordance with the leading of the Spirit of Truth. So this is a constant readaptive interpretation. And we are led, the Spirit of Truth leads us to use this impulse to love. How leads us to do that in new, innovative ways, new manners in each situation that we find ourselves. So it's adaptive to whatever situation we're in. Love must thereby grasp the ever-changing and enlarging concepts of the highest cosmic good of the individual who is loved. So when I love somebody, I have to relate to them in the way that is the highest cosmic good for them. And it doesn't have to do all the time with what they want, but what I perceive and the Spirit of Truth within me perceives to be the highest good for them. And then love goes on to strike the same attitude concerning all other individuals who could possibly be influenced by the growing and living relationship of one Spirit-led mortal's love for other citizens of the universe. And this entire living adaptation of love must be effected in the light of both the environment of present evil and the eternal goal of the perfection of divine destiny. And so must we clearly recognize that neither the Golden Rule nor the teaching of non-resistance can ever be properly understood as dogmas or precepts. They can only be comprehended by living them, by realizing their meanings in the living interpretation of the Spirit of Truth, who directs the loving contact of one human being with another. And all this clearly indicates the difference between the old religion and the new. The old religion taught self-sacrifice. The new religion teaches only self-forgetfulness. Enhanced self-realization is conjoined social service and universe comprehension. The old religion was motivated by fear consciousness. The new gospel of the kingdom is dominated by truth conviction, the spirit of eternal and universal truth. And no amount of piety or creedal loyalty can compensate for the absence in the life experience of kingdom believers of that spontaneous, generous, and sincere friendliness which characterizes the spirit-born sons of the living God. Neither tradition nor a ceremonial system of formal worship can atone for the lack of genuine compassion for one's fellows. Wow, that was something else. That's what it has to do with. Genuine compassion, genuine observance of this divine spirit within my fellow humans. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening, and you have a good night. Okay. Bye.